Okay, welcome to the April meeting of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, Bingley Town Council. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off with 21-22-163 apologies for absence. We have one apology for absence from Councillor Carney, which as you can see in the book, proposed by Councillor Gibbons, seconded by Councillor Clough. All those in favour of accepting that? Yes, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. 21-22-164 disclosure of interest for items on the agenda to receive declarations of interest from councillors. Any declarations of interest? None around the room. Have we received written requests for dispensations for disclosure? No. So again, we're not going to receive and consider requests for them as appropriate. So 21-22-165 minutes of the last meeting, which was held on the 9th of March 2022, which were attached. I've seen them already, obviously, so I have no issues with them. Anyone else got any comments on them, please?
Propose then.
Proposed, yeah. Seconded by Councillor Beckwith. All those in favour of accepting the minutes? Yes.
Abstention, I wasn't here.
An exemption from Councillor Clough as absence, and Councillor Mia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, people. Let's move this on a bit. Confidential items then, number 21-22-166. We always have a confidential item on the agenda, but has anyone got anything on the agenda they'd like to move into that confidential slot, please?
I was just wondering whether you wanted the broadband discussion in there.
We could do. We could do. It's money.
I haven't identified the different.
As long as we stick with A, B, and C, but it is fairly obvious, I think, isn't it? From so, do we want to move that into private? We did with the plumbing and the like, didn't we?
Yeah,
So,
Yes, I think we should, Chair.
So, you want me to
okay.
propose
So
that then?
proposed,
Propose.
seconded by
Yeah.
Councillor Clough. All those in favour of moving the broadband discussion?
In which case, do we need to move the Portaloos as well?
Do we need to move the Portaloos as well? It's not quite so obvious on the Portaloos.
No.
It's because the companies aren't so obvious, they're Portaloos. So I would say probably not,
No.
rather than the broadband is very specific, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, let's.
Okay,
I would say my advice would be no. What do you think, Clark?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, that should
Well, that's a
be.
change, a welcome change. Thank you very much. Right, so moving on then to 21-22-167 public participation. There are no members of the public here, so they're not going to be invited to speak. So we'll move on to 21-22-168 bank reconciliation statement and balances, and you should have those in front of you. There's I think 5 bits of paper.
Yeah.
So let's take them from the top now. Cash book 1. It shows a zero difference to the current account and the receipts or the unpresented cheques. £6,553.51. Any comments on that from the meeting, please? No. Cash book 4, the multi-pay account, shows a zero balance. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The public sector, the current account. The account doesn't say what it is, but the 203707110 account has £73,902.97. Is that our float account, our current account?
That's the current account. It's actually the updated figure from today is looking very healthy because we've got the preset £247.117.
Any decimals?
31p.
Ever important 31p. Okay. As you say, a nice healthy balance there with the precept coming in, so we don't have to worry about Bradford defaulting once again this year. So note that. Any questions on that? No. The public sector deposit fund then shows a balance of 153,334.
So again, the updated figure for that is 143. 334 because it was we had to take 10.
Is that the, yeah, I saw that, yeah,
To cover the
to cover in case the precept didn't come out, and, yeah.
And then the precept, we moved the money, we moved £10,000 from there into the current account.
Yeah.
And then the precept obviously went in when we messed about with filling in the forms and everything.
So does that mean we'll presumably move that 10,000 back?
Yeah, we'll move the 10,000 back. The other thing I was going to ask is, because I didn't know what you usually did when you get the precept, do you leave all the precept in the Unity Bank, or do you move some of it into the public sector? Because the public sector seems to have been the same figure for...
I think we move it into the public sector for safety. I think is not the current account only covered by 80,000 from the Bank General Disaster Fund government?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we generally move a huge wodge of it. Yeah.
Only leave 80,000 in.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. Yeah. Am I right?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the reason that it
It's
always
a dividend.
stays the same is because the interest that it generates is automatically put into is transferred in there.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
So that's why it stays the same.
Yeah.
And I noticed it's just picked up small
61,
amount, hasn't it?
52.
We're at round about 30 quid. It's
Yeah.
60 quid now. So.
It's
Yeah.
doubled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So noted that. Thank you. And the Unity Bank Trust, which are the payments which we approved at the full council end of last month. Any questions on that?
No.
I presume the small amount of incomes are allotment
They are.
holders
Yes.
paying their fees. Yeah, thought so. Okay, so that shows a 655331, which is surprisingly the first one we looked at in the cash book. Okay, any questions? Can I move on, accept all those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. 21-22-169 budget to agree the actions taken regarding the remainder of the Change in Places Fund from the 21-22 budget in light of the recent funding notification from Bradford Council, which is £20,000 to be received. So, open debate. So, anyone got any thoughts, please?
Was this put on when we thought we had 45,000? Because
It-
we've only
it-
got 6,000 in the bank, so there's not a lot to talk about.
It was,
You were.
If we'd had 25,000 that we hadn't
We needed, yeah.
allocated.
no, what we've done is, just to be clear, we've wired the money from various account codes into the change in places. Then we have £20,000 coming into the change in places. So presumably we'll wire £20,000 back out of the change in places to leave that net neutral. But what do we do with that 20,000?
Have we got the 20,000?
No. But this is a conversation about what do we want to do with it, I guess, because there was various people at the full council hinting at things, and I made the proposal that we throw it back to the F&GP to discuss and then come back to the council with recommendations. I know there's one councillor out there who wants to build up a fighting fund over the next few years to do something. Well, I don't know what that something is. And my view on that is that, okay, that sounds like a reasonable idea if you were a company and you had a big project, but you need to have that big project. Like the Change in Places was built over 4 years. So there doesn't seem to be any big project out there at the moment. So
it's either general. So we've got no reserve to earmark it for. So it
well,
could
I
be general
would
reserve.
I would move it into unallocated reserves
So-
and give it back
yeah.
to the population of Bingley next year as it washes through, because
All
the-
reserves are allocated though, so general reserve.
yeah,
Yeah.
general reserve. But
Yeah.
my proposal would be to put it into general reserve on the grounds that we could always take it out again if someone comes forward with, say, I don't know, solar cells for the roof again, you know, or railings don't happen to come out of sill, you know. It's a fighting fund, if you like, but it washes through in general reserves and goes back to the population next year.
Sorry.
General reserves.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But if someone comes up with a great idea which the council pass,
Yeah.
then it shouldn't go back into any budget account code if there's no project for that account code to justify that being there.
I think it would be a good idea if we had a project, as you said. However, this consultation thing that's going on with Bradford Council and all that, that's in the background all the time. So you can't sort of say, well, let's take over the Market Square and put a cover on it or something like that. I mean, that were mooted in 2016.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the moment, we don't know where we're going, do we?
No. So
we're in the hands of Bradford Council at the moment.
Yeah, there are no ideas from me on the table, which is why I threw it up. I didn't think there was, but that's why I threw it open to you guys. Yeah. But my proposal would be just let the clerk put it into general reserves
and then it could be allocated to something else later on if a project came up.
But I don't think I don't think we need to mess around with the 20k going into changing places and then making another viring announcement at the full council to move it back out again. I think the money from Bradford Council goes into general reserves because we've already done the.
We've already spent it.
Yeah, we've already allocated it.
Do we need to propose that then?
Well, I think from a recommendation to full council, that would be my recommendation. Is
So would you say, Steve, that money has to be technically spent by 22, 23?
No, it don't have to be, does it?
No, because we've already spent
there's any projects
coming
forward?
Yeah, the money for the change in places has already been spent in this fiscal year.
Yeah.
Where the money comes from Bradford, when it comes, is just replacing the 21-22 spend.
For that one.
So it's just really dropping into the account. So long as it gets here before March next year, it should be
hopefully.
Yes. We've already evidenced £37,000.
Presumably we'll get it back relatively quickly.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that's fine,
But it only flows through as I recommend. So recommended by me that we float it into general reserves, seconded by Councillor Good. All those in favour? Okay, so be it then. When it comes, we put it into general reserves, and with a note to say that the full council any council can come forward with a project, and we'll take it under advisement as necessary. So we are in a good position there. Okay, so moving on then to 21-22 170 hub building issues. There's two issues on the agenda: the need for a new CCTV system and the internet provider. So the internet provider has been moved into the non-public area. So let's talk about the CCTV system. So this came about by the new extensions having cameras on it. So we've asked YSS to provide a quote for 2 cameras to go on the new building to connect to cables to connect through to this thing in here. And they've come down here and condemned it basically as being a cheap old Amazon thing, which kind of I knew from a year and a half ago that I knew it was bought from Amazon by the electricians for the hub build. There was no spec for it other than the building should have security cameras on it, so they bought a cheapy thing. So we are where we are. We don't have any quotes for a new CCTV system yet, and I have no idea what we're looking at. But this is a question in principle then, isn't it?
Do we have a spec then?
No.
If we're saying we've ended up with rubbish because we didn't have a spec.
If you project forward to the computers that we're going to be talking about later, all those computers come with a spec which you can check out on the internet. You can make a judgment as to whether that's the one you want. So, I'm guessing YSS with a proper contract with us who want to maintain our business will provide a decent specification. But
that's just what I'm going to say. What do they?
Well, we haven't got a spec yet. So
possible installers recommend.
Well, this is just an early flag.
Yeah.
This is an early flag that they have condemned that. So when we put the new building there, which is 8 to 10 weeks away, we have contingency for the cameras. I'll put those in, but not for this thing. And I've got no idea how much it costs, but I don't think it's a lot.
We need the CCTV when the new building is put up.
Yeah, because the new building will block the sight line of. You won't have any cameras on the new building, basically.
So we're taking an advanced decision because we need to make sure that
it's a decision in principle to let you know that it's coming. I don't think there's any need for a decision. because you
It'd be
know.
good to get the direction to go out and get the quotes.
Well,
I think
yes,
that's
well,
what we're
I would then make a proposal to please go
Yeah.
out and get some quotes, but
Yeah.
we don't know how much it's going to be. I got some quotes for my house a couple of years ago, and it was about £1,200 for the system and the cameras. So you know, I don't think it's going to be that much, but we'll see.
But do we know enough about what we've currently got to sensibly get quotes? Do we know what cameras we've got?
Yes,
what
they
those
know what the cameras. The cameras aren't the problem.
No, I know, but if we
No.
go out and get a new system, if the cameras are old tech, then they might not work with.
Well, it's for YSS to provide that. You know, that they
So
know what the cameras. They know the spec of
They're
the
going to
cameras.
provide the quote.
Yes.
We're only going to have the one quote.
Well, once we know what it is, well,
in the
again,
three. Yeah.
Again, let's go back round to how we got here in the first place. No one spec'd it because no one on the council got any ideas of what a camera system is. So you and I could sit on the internet and look at it all day.
No,
But
so are we going to ask YSS
Yes.
to give us a spec?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we
Yes.
might ask them to be one of the people
Yes.
who quote.
That, yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Let's do something to move forward on
yes,
this, yeah.
that's a reasonable thing to do,
Yeah.
provided they don't
Yeah.
take their bamboo home because of that. But yeah,
Yeah, well, it's tough, isn't it? I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
We need a specification. We need it to record. We need 30 days worth of recording. We need it time and motion sensitive. We don't need audio, you know, etc., etc. So, shall I put together a spec? How about that? Shall I look at the on-road user guide and take the opening paragraph, which is the spec, never mind the build quality? You know, we know it's 8 cameras. We know they're power over Ethernet cameras. We know that it's 30 days recording. We know that
I
it's
see what you mean, yeah.
So I can come up with a
Yeah.
spec. Shall I do that and push
Yeah,
it forward
yeah,
to the
yeah.
next meeting?
yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
I'll propose that then.
Yeah.
Right, I will do that then.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Seconded.
Second
All
that.
those in favour. So not going to ISS. I'll present a.
you can ask them.
Yeah.
Next
can ask
meeting.
You can ask
Some advice,
I
yeah.
certainly informally ask them if this is
if this is a
appropriate.
sensible spec.
Yes. Yeah.
They are very helpful.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on then, the internet provider will come back again. So the next one is Chromebooks, 21-22-171 Chromebooks. Now, I don't think personally we can move forward very far with this one either. And the reason being is I still don't know why Chromebooks are not recommended by Cloudy IT. I have asked the help desk and they do get a number of calls from councillors who have Chromebooks and they are proving to be a thorn. However, it would seem to be what Nicola said and Philippa said and hit the nail on the head. If you haven't got Wi-Fi, it don't work because it's a Wi-Fi sensitive thing. It doesn't have its own memory stack in it and it's relying on access to Wi-Fi. So if we're out on village halls and there's no Wi-Fi, it would seem to be not the thing. So we have the original Chromebook from Cloudy IT. We have the high spec email from spec from Cloudy IT for the PC as well. Where I'm struggling to find that in my papers, which was
That's where they're basically
yeah.
£600 each.
Yeah, and then we have this other one from this other company with a whole array of quotes on them. It's the way they've done it is to give us a quote for each individual item rather than, you know, this isn't what we want. In other words, it's not saying we're going to go out and buy £2,430 worth of items. So what I've asked Nicola to do is to say there's a refurbished HP ProBook on here for £350. Have they only got one of those, or have they got 3? And the answer's not yet forthcoming, so we don't know. You see what I mean? Is it is it a
Yeah.
one? Is this like cash collectors where they've just got one?
I think she got back to them. I think they have more than one.
And I haven't had the answer back to
Right.
me yet, so I know if Nicola's asked. But for example, you know, there's a brand new notebook there at £435. There's a Dell Vostro, which is the other one that Cloudy IT recommended at £630. The Cloudy IT one was £595. But you know, do we want to spend £1,600 on 3 Chromebooks, I don't think we have got the appropriate information to make a decision tonight.
No,
No, I don't.
No, not
Are you?
pass it on to the next.
I think
I
we
think-
should
I think
defer it.
Council then.
But one thing this does throw up is effectively, I know we're talking about Chromebooks or laptops, but all the laptops they've quoted for are big beasts.
Yeah.
And is that what we want?
Don't know.
You
Well,
know,
we
so,
technically
so
don't.
are you going to go from carrying that round to carrying something this big?
What, you want to sort out the spec before we go any further.
Well, not necessarily even the spec, but
You mean size?
the basic size of what we think people will have. So, like the Chromebook, it seems to come out at 11.6 inches, whereas all the laptops, everyone's quoting 15.6. So, so it's significantly. It's going to be a significantly chunkier thing for people to carry around with them. If, you know.
It's also more of an update issue, and but the other thing is, if we buy something, we need to make sure that councillors are going to use them.
Yeah.
So we've got a Teams issue, whereas the Amazon Playbook doesn't do Teams. So we haven't gone anywhere with Teams yet, but there are a couple of meetings, like the neighbourhood plan is not on Teams, but the information is.
Right.
So if you were on the neighbourhood, if someone was on the neighbourhood plan meeting, that would be an issue.
Alright.
Then there's a general email issue, which is a thing.
Well, I don't have any problem with that
no,
emails at all.
No. But I do know that one councillor was asking for hardware support, and I think YLCA was information was because they were volunteer. There's no requirement under the disability code to provide any support. But this is a thing where we're choosing to. I think that's the issue for me. We're choosing to provide technical kit to help people get where they are. Now, I was all for providing 16 to say, right, it's equal across the board. But as Philippa quite rightly says, she doesn't want one. And to be frank, I don't need one either.
I don't know.
But Howard don't need one, and Ashraf probably don't need one. And, so we come down to are we choosing to buy something, but we don't choose to buy a Chromebook that doesn't work.
No.
So, but then again, a refurbished laptop Dell Latitude i5 at 350 quid is. Or £400 rather, or a refurbished HP ProBook at £350 seemed to be a good deal. We bought 3 of them, 1,200 quid.
Yeah.
So we might have to buy 4 actually come next Tuesday week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, 4 if we have 1 spare, 3 if we take the spare.
Right.
Any thoughts? Come on, I'm the only one speaking at the moment. Anyone any thoughts?
I think, Steve, obviously what you're saying, because we want something that's, that does the work, obviously, we don't want to get a Chromebook and this and that, and it doesn't.
Can you use Teams?
I'm not that, thinking,
No, have you got the technology to use Teams? Have you got? I mean, I
can use Teams
I
on
can do
that.
Teams on an iPhone.
Is it?
But it is laborious.
I've used it on the.
On the
on the Chromebook. I've got a Chromebook similar as well. Sometimes
and it does Teams.
Yeah,
at
I
home.
think it can do it. Yes, I've used it.
But it couldn't do it if you were in a place with no Wi-Fi.
That's
say,
right. The
say a hall.
Wi-Fi is the issue, really, isn't it? Really.
But a laptop has some sort of
A
memory or whatever.
You can download it to the.
That's right. That's the
You
only
can
way
download your documents or whatever.
Yeah, but you'd have to be intellectually there to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You'd have to have cloudy IT. No, not disparaging any councillor anywhere.
No.
But you it's not just it worked. You come out. I didn't download it. You have to make that conscious decision and know how to do it. So it's cloudy IT.
You see, with this thing, I get got all the agenda and everything, and anything that I've already downloaded, I can just bring back in. I don't have any problem with it. It's just this. If we have any interactive,
Teams.
meetings,
Teams, video conferencing.
I mean, I'm quite happy with this. As I said, keep saying it does all I want it to do. But apart from, I can't get anything that comes through. You see, when I press that, it just said it just well, incompatible, and that's it.
Should we kick this down the road again
Yeah.
for another meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
If the decision on a new laptop for me goes through, then there will be a spare laptop that somebody could use. Like, you could use this one for Teams, John, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure whether the council had a disposal policy. Because I had some YLCA training earlier and somebody was talking about something similar and they said you need a disposal policy.
I can assure you we don't have a disposal
Yeah.
policy. We can soon have one. I bet other disposal policies exist. But yeah. Okay. Well, so shall we pull this
Yeah.
from the
Yeah,
agenda
yeah.
and move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want this on the next agenda then, or what?
Well, I'm hopeful that two things will happen. We'll have a more clarified sales quotations from Nicola as to whether or not. I think we need to make a positive recommendation. We need to buy 4 of these at £1,200 and move on, or struggle.
Well,
Yes, Robert.
what about this? Shouldn't we have a spare one on site here for council to come in, take for a limited time if they need it? Or I have 3.
Yeah, there's an issue. There is a slight issue with that, and it relates to this little thing in the side here. See this little thing here, this little dongle.
Yeah.
That knows who I am.
Yeah.
So you can't. This is a council IT. This one here is a council thing for the audio visual for the owl and that. And you could use it, but you'd have to log in as me. Right? And I don't
doing
want that. No, I don't want that. So this little thing has to be told that you're here as well. So you can't. It's not just a simple matter of can I come in and use it. You have to do a bit of pre-work with Cloudy IT to allow you to do that. But I don't think it's. I think it stores more than. I think it could store 16 IT passwords. But you have to know your password. I have to know my Cloudy IT password to.
But is
fire this thing up.
is that just like a dongle then? So is
It
it
is
just
a
a case
dongle,
of everybody needs their own dongle and you
Yeah.
pop your own dongle in the
Yeah, but that's
in
the same
laptop
dongle that Nicola had. So I guess it's either been reprogrammed for me.
Yeah,
But Nicola can also log in because it comes up with are you
Yeah.
Nicola or me?
Oh right. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
No,
So it would presumably come up with are you Nicola, me, John Good, Robert Beckwith, and you just choose it. So yeah, you could, but you've just got to sort it out with Cloudy IT and Nicola.
but if that is the laptop that controls that, then it needs to be
Well,
available.
there's another one spare. That's what
Right.
Eve is saying.
Yeah.
So I guess by
If we have a spare one, then we should
Yeah.
just make it available for people to take away and use, shouldn't we?
non-disposal policy, never going to be disposed of. So okay, let's put that one in the mix as well then, I guess.
Don't look for a disposal policy then, that might be useful.
Well, not if we're not going to dispose of it, no.
Well, I would imagine any disposal policy is going to say we're going to want our discs wiping
Yeah.
X times,
Right,
this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
more secure.
it's not going to be anything
Okay.
other than that sort of thing. I wouldn't have thought.
So let's move on then to 2122 172 Green and Clean. John, you're on.
Very good. Okay. Well, as you know, as you attended, we had a litter picking river cleaning event on Saturday. We didn't get a lot of people turning up here, but as a joint venture, it was a success. We finished up with, brought all the rubbish down here. There were 15, when they were consolidated, about 15 bags of rubbish. We did get I got an email from Nick at Air Rivers Trust, which I passed on to Eve, and I think she's circulated. I've been and done some research, and I've done organised the next, or asked Nicola, and she's produced a poster for the next one, which is on the 23rd of April in Cross Flats. I've also been in touch with the Friends of Cross Flats Village Society, and had a reply to say that they were intending to have a litter pick in May, but they'd be open to bringing it forward and having it on the same day. The area that I want to cover is the canal bank from the Morton Lane swing bridge, certainly for the length of the field. But as I did put in the email to Crossflats Village Society, if we can get a cooperation with the locals, we can expand that, and we can have a couple of different places to drop the litter. I've chosen the end of the drive because there's a access gate to Crossflats school field. I've been to see the caretaker. I've been to see the house owner who has a key for the gate. It's usually left open, so we've got access to there. I've been and seen them. So the next litter pick is on the 23rd of April, and it's on the drive in Crossflats initially.
Okay.
But subject to some cooperation. As I say, I did get a reply straight away from Crossflats Village Society. Just to say that Friends of Myrtle Park held on top of the litter pick. They held a successful event on Sunday, mainly for children, and they got over 100 people turned up to do a Easter egg trail, so that were really successful. The day did make it, so and the hub were officially opened as well. Okay, I think that's all now. I will update you. As you know, for some weeks, months, years, I've been still talking about this piece of land, riverside footpath. The problem that I've got, which is so frustrating, is we know that Bradford Council own it. We know that Bradford Council have got prices. We haven't a flipping clue what they're thinking of doing. So I've mentioned this to Eve because I've written to a lady called Belinda Gaynor, not Gaynor, Belinda Gaynor, on the recommendation of Brian Dobson. She's never replied to me. So Eve has written to her officially, and unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever you want to say, she's on leave till the 19th. So hopefully, before the full council, I might have some idea what they're thinking of doing. That's why I haven't said anything when you've mentioned having £20,000 to kick around. You know, they've done a lot of remedial work. I think that's already been reported from the COVID team at Bradford Council, and there's been some positive response to that. They've cut some ivy back and cut a lot of the undergrowth back and tidied it up a bit, but there's still plenty to do, and definitely the footpath itself needs refurbing so that you could have it for wheelchairs. And then going forward, the real plan would be to have some notice boards or notice boards or wildlife boards or something like that, and get the painting done and just have it as a link from Bingley Park to Island Bridge, and that'd be lovely. I did talk, which is sort of green and clean, at the event on Sunday. I talked to Christine McCabe, who's the Walkers of Welcome, and she's very positive and offered to give us some support on that issue, and said that they'd had a successful walk and 34 people had turned up, so that's all positive stuff.
Can I go back to your litter picking?
Yes.
You haven't set a time for this Morton Lane.
Beg your pardon?
You haven't given a time that this event starts.
All right, okay.
Oh, what, the litter pick and the green?
It's in on the poster.
It's 10 o'clock.
It's on the poster, is it? Okay.
10 o'clock.
Is it? I said, isn't it on the poster?
Well, I don't think Councillor Beckworth has seen the poster.
All right, okay. A poster's been produced and circulated. It's the same. We used it each time. We just modify it slightly and put time, but it's usually times are usually on it, and it's 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So going back to the litter pick.
Yes.
Yeah, it was disappointing that there was only two of us here from a council point of view, you and I.
Yeah.
However, councillors Winnard and Heseltine were in a district council surgery in the morning.
That's fine, yeah.
But they litter picked in Gilstead in the afternoon.
Yes, there was.
In
Yes,
an official capacity.
Gilstead Village Society had a little pick from 2 till 4.
I want to recognise that,
Yeah.
but I also want to recognise that we didn't find much rubbish.
No, very
and
possible.
nor did they. They
Yeah.
were posting on Facebook that they thought
Yes.
it was
Well,
remarkably clean.
Isn't that a positive step?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Bingley Town Council,
Yes.
Green and Clean champions are doing a good job. When you go 2 miles the other direction and you go into some side streets, it's just like a tip. It's awful.
Well, I'm wondering whether the population of
Unpaid.
Bingley are being a little bit more careful.
Well, there you
as
go.
Yes,
I think if you see people
I've-
litter-picking it,
I've always believed that a clean street stays cleaner than a
Yes,
dirt
yeah.
street.
And as well, you know where we went over by the tennis courts? By the
Yeah, yeah,
Allotments?
yeah.
There was someone over there with a flak jacket on as well, a
Right.
high vis jacket, litter picking,
Yeah.
and they couldn't have come from you because we were the first over there.
Yeah. No,
So I
no,
think
they'll have
they
come from
did it as
friends. They'll have come from friends because Lindsay had liaised with
I'm friends of Myrtle Park.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lindsay from Friends of Myrtle Park had liaised with Bingley Cons Cricket
Right.
Club to ask permission to go on their land.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So there was a lot of people out on
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else on green and clear? Oh, how are bulbs and plants and that? Are that
No, well, we'll look to get those in. Oh, excellent, very important.
I'm sure.
In the past, it is.
Yeah.
In the past, I've I call them wildflowers for ease. I've put some wildflowers on the Ferncliff Road
And the banking.
banking. I'd like to propose that we spend. This will be more than enough, but this is the same amount as I put last time. I'd like to propose that we. I could spend up to £70 on seeds. It's usually about £50 for 100 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know if to do it in this meeting. I think probably Clark would have authority to spend it, but I just thought I'd bring it up here.
I would
Yeah.
second that.
yeah.
We can
Well,
agree
if
on
you
that.
can agree any actions, the problem with a couple of things that come out is green and clean, markets and allotments. They never have any motions. They're also on the fly, those 3 topics.
Yeah,
So given the fact that we've got a precedent for that, I'm happy to second
Yeah.
your motion for £70 for
right, well, it'll be
wildflower.
less than that, but I'm just covering.
Well,
you know, we
Up
just
to
think,
£70, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm happy
yeah.
to propose your motion to spend up to £70
so yeah, all in
on
favour.
wildflowers for that banking.
Yeah.
All those in favour. And with that, I'd like to move on to market updates, which I believe might be you again, but I can certainly talk to it.
And this market coming up because it's sort of slightly concerns me. The market itself, we did get more volunteers, so that were good. It was easy, but it was a nice day, wasn't it?
It was.
That made all the difference. Now this one coming up this weekend on Friday. You and I have got a name. What we're going to do? Are we just obviously there's a table in there.
Okay.
Do you want the banner?
Okay.
Yeah. Some.
Are we talking Bingley Town Council?
Yeah.
So I'd like to raise that issue
Good.
because I came down. I was aware that one of our councillors went sick, and Ruth, our admin officer, spoke to me on Friday and said, Councillor so-and-so's gone sick, can I stand in? And I said, no. She said, why not? You're a chair. I go, yeah, but I'm just a councillor. I'm chair of the full council, but I'm not the mayor of Bingley or anything like that. So why do I need to be there? She said, to see your parishioners. I go, well, my telephone number and my email's on the website, so if they want me, they can find me. I don't see the need to get up at 9 o'clock on a cold morning to come down to play someone who's a volunteer there in the first place. So I actually came down and sat and had a coffee at the lounge, watching the market from 12:30 till 2 when we met you.
Yeah.
And our stand was unaccompanied. There was just our stand there. Councillors had been there, but they weren't there for that last hour and a half.
Right.
Plus the fact that the market was actually pretty dismal. There wasn't that many stands there. There certainly wasn't the 17 that Peter was sort of saying that there's 17 stands.
It was significantly down on
It
previous
was. It was.
market.
The idea was that our music guy had gone sick in the morning.
Yeah, good.
But
That's
whether the
after
music guy pulls people in, I'm not convinced that's true. So I was a little bit dismayed. I mean, I know And then I was saying I don't want to come down to man the Bingley Town Council stand because I see it as a farmer's market, and I don't see that the Bingley Town Council stand adds any value to it. Other than the fact that you might want to stand there and talk to your provisioners if you want to.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Ruth about it after the event, and she said, well, you know, if you could lose that, it saves her a lot of work. So I'm really putting it out there to you guys to say, what do you guys think in terms of the Bingley Town Council stand on the farmers'
I think
market?
it's just like you say, it's just been a matter of having a presence. Do we need a presence? I don't know.
Do you need a thing to stand under if you have a presence? Can you not stand under the one with the music
The
man?
musician.
Yeah.
Can you not just stand on the corner by the music stand?
You could,
It's
yeah.
big enough.
You could,
Why do you have to work your tail off to put up two gazebos when only one would be necessary?
Yeah. Well, I did, as I say, I
disruptive
did
on that,
ask before we put the 6 metre up to if there's going to be some entertainment. Peter said, as far as I know, there is, and then he didn't come, so we had to not take it down again. But
I get that, but what I'm thinking is if there are councillors who are volunteering who want to be there, I can imagine Councillor Curdale, for instance, when he's launching his youth services thing, might want to have a presence in a particular market day to do something.
Well,
Then you know that would be a specific thing.
why don't we play it market to market then? Just let me know what we need gazebo wise, and I'll see it gets put there.
That would be my proposal. I don't see the need to have something there and then force people to go there.
What I take the 6 metre that basically for the entertainment.
Yes.
And I always take the sides for that in case it's bad.
Yes.
But fortunately we've only had to use them once. But take the other one, but I also take a couple of chairs, I take the table, I take the box.
Yes.
So basically, all we need to take then in that case would be the big gazebo
Yes.
and first aid box.
And maybe the banner.
Oh yeah,
Just stick
yeah. Well, it's a fair point. I mean,
Yeah.
John, you're there every time. You're the backbone.
No.
John sets up and then goes.
Only for an hour either end, really.
Yeah. John sets up and then goes off to other commitments in Cottingley.
And then I come
Nevertheless,
back at 2 o'clock and take it down and
Yeah.
take
So I
banners
sat there
down.
and watched from 12:30 to 2 o'clock, and it was like anyone stood there waiting for people to come up and talk to them would be chewing at the bit, I think, to go somewhere else. So. I mentioned it to Ruth, and she said, "Bring it up. It's a good, valid point." You know,
I was just wondering if you would. We could have a team of volunteers from the councillors who are going to give you available to be on call if somebody turns up.
We've got at the moment we have a road. We supposedly have a rota that Ruth sets up.
Okay.
You see, so, but it's usually the same faces.
But I think it's different from rota to help you.
Yes,
set up and take
yeah.
down,
I
as
appreciate
to a
that,
rota
yeah.
to actually have councillors to stand.
Getting any younger.
Waiting for something to happen. That
Because
was my point.
Rose did send out an email quite a long time ago asking for volunteers.
No, she's got a
list,
But it's a bit onerous if you're asking for. If you look at the volunteers that we're asking for at every full council meeting, there's a list of them. There's all the subcommittees. There's always wanted new councillors to stand on those. There's the all the events, the Easter event, the egg hunt, the Friends of Myrtle Park, the Friends of Prince of Wales. But you know, there's all of those, and we're struggling for them as well.
We're
markets. We're still
on
markets.
markets, aren't we?
Yeah.
So back to the question: what we as a council are doing inside that.
What are we doing on Friday?
centre.
Talk me through Friday then.
Well, Friday basically they provide a table. Okay. So in the past.
So this is the one in there.
Yeah, as far as I know, we've paid for a table, as far as I know, just for a presence.
Yeah.
In the past, with singing and dancing, we've had displays and stuff. That ain't going to happen because we've never arranged to do anything like that. Is it just a pile of newsletters and
we just stand there chatting.
Stand there and talk? Yeah,
we stood there and talked about the work the council do.
Yeah.
I did it last year. Well, Christmas with Councillor Owen for 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's normally 2 people, morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
So, do we have a schedule for that, Eve? Friday?
Well, I know you and I had put as I say, I usually just take the stuff, but I mean, if you want me to do 10 till 12, I'll do 10 till 12.
Shall I do 2 till 4?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, who's doing
If anybody else comes.
Who's doing 12 till 2? Yeah, so should we ask Ruth to clarify that with some urgency tomorrow and send out an email and cry for help tomorrow? Presumably people can respond on email.
I don't know whether it shouldn't be something more definite. If we can get councillors to put their names forward to it. I'm very remiss, I should be doing more. Where we have a rota.
So what slot shall I put you down for then, Robert?
One month in every 3 or something like that.
No,
you mean
Friday. Talking Friday. It's Good Friday.
Good Friday.
That
It's
day off.
only Good Friday, is it?
Well, it's
this
just
one.
sorry, Robert. This is a one-off event. It's a Chamber of Trade.
Okay.
Michelle Chapman sorted it, organised a Chamber of Trade event, which is market outside and also market inside
Oh,
the
yes,
arts
yes, I
centre.
remember it.
And so we just have it's just a one-off. That one and the Christmas one, where we have a stall or a plot
And this is on Good Friday.
inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had a box of chocolates for children to steal. We had a pile of brochures. We had a map of the parish. And people
That's
stood there
in
with
there,
badges.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were just sat there. I mean, I sat
So
talking to various people who come
yeah,
up and
yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
did a bit of Twitter, a bit of Facebooking. You know, it wasn't particularly active.
No.
You know.
No. So right, that's okay. I'm happy with that. I know
Well,
what we're doing now.
Yeah, but no. Should I get Ruth to put out an urgent?
Well,
do tomorrow?
well, does anybody else want? I
Well, it's only you and you at the moment.
I know. Anybody else that wants to turn up and give moral support, that's up to them. It's, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a poor show if no one turns out. If we got to stand there and it's not manned.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
you're not gonna
So,
be
well,
there
yeah,
3
yeah.
hours at a
It's-
time,
yeah.
you know.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
yeah.
2 hours is a good chew.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough to bite on, isn't it? 2
Yeah,
hours.
plenty. Yeah.
You go 3 hours, you're going to get a little bit doolally.
I'll send a message out tomorrow morning, Steve, because Ruth's not in.
If you could.
Yeah, she doesn't want
I
to.
think
I'll send
that's
her out first thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So John's got 10 till 12.
Yeah, and I can do 2 till 4.
Right.
And then that's it. Then.
Well, what about 12 till 2?
Oh yeah. Sorry. 2 till 4. So yeah.
Yeah.
12 till 2.
Yeah, I think 2 hours is enough.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And then
Okay.
just because I'll probably have to come back at 4 anyway, just to move stuff back over. There won't be much, but just it's only a walk now. You see, it used to be a bigger job because we used to have to trail stuff from Tottenham before, but it's handy now. We can just carry it across.
Okay, well, I'll stick that in my diary, 2 till 4. And look forward to seeing anyone else there to hand over from me. And or to take, you know, with me taking over from me, if you see what I mean, if I'm making sense there,
Yeah.
which I know I'm not. Okay. Oh, so moving on then to Mark. So the other thing about that is I made a proposal that we should take it market to market and only and Ruth can therefore not demand people but ask people if they want to stand up
Yeah.
to meet their parishioners.
Yeah.
Rather than that's we're talking about the small gazebo.
Yeah.
And if you want to stick the banner up at the end of the gazebo, they say,
Yeah.
well, actually, don't need a gazebo
Up to
there.
the main one. Yeah.
Just
Philippa.
because we organised the musician,
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we be there to meet him? But,
do we need someone 10 till 12
The
whilst the musician's there?
good point,
or-
because I understand, and I've never seen it, but I understand there's a voucher or something for parking for the entertainment. I don't know where it is or what it is or anything about it apart from that it exists.
Really?
So yeah.
It does exist.
Well, Jeff were on about it last time. He seems to know something about it. So
Well, given the fact it's money in a slot on a Ringo thing and it's like £2.20,
yeah,
you know, is the...
I don't know what the arrangement is.
Well, I would have thought the musician would claim for it with his money, would add parking.
Could do.
You know, I wouldn't have thought we'd be allocating in a spot or...
I
don't know.
Leave it with me. I'll find out.
The contractual arrangements would be good, I think.
I'll find out what's
Thank you,
happening, 'cause,
Councillor Good.
yeah,
Thank you.
and I'll have to find out.
You mentioned something. Do we need to be there?
Do we need to be there
Or
because
to make sure he turns up?
Because we're organised. Well, I don't know,
Well, we've subbed it out to Otley Town Partnerships, would be my view.
but we haven't.
Yeah.
Have we?
Not for the entertainment, no way.
Well, they can tell us whether... Well, I don't know.
I don't know. So, all
You
I'm
see-
saying is, if we have the big gazebo up for the musician,
Yeah.
do we need someone there for the The
To-
two,
to-
the
to-
2 hour
to be there
morning
to-
slot,
to-
and we can that way it's less onerous if we're only doing one
Yeah.
2 hour
Is
slot.
he's only doing 12 to 10 till 12, the musician, at any time?
It's
I
two,
don't
it's
know.
2 3/4 of an hour things, isn't it?
Yeah.
normally?
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Ruth would know. Ruth would know about the parking.
I don't even know who's organising the musician.
Oh, Ruth does all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Ruth can clarify that as well then. That's a good point that Philippa makes. Do we need to be there contractually? Yeah, welcome and
Because we pay them.
we
No.
pay them, make sure they're there. Yeah. Make sure they're doing time there 3/4 hour. Okay, can we move on then from markets? We agreed actions there, and I guess we're all in agreement with that. Can I
Yeah.
take that as signified? Yes.
Yeah, as long as you let us know
Do,
what's
do we
happening.
need to go back to Otley Town Partnership because it was a pretty poor set of stalls?
It's a good point.
It is normally more than that. 'Cause I am,
Well, it's
I
just
am
a-
normally here.
To be fair, it still turns up, isn't it?
I know, but normally they have got more people
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was quite sparse this
Is
last
it in
one.
their control? Well, I guess
Well,
that's what John's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it to do with the fact that they have to provide their own gazebos?
Yeah, well, Peter was saying that all but one of them
Had them.
had got their own gazebo now, and there was someone leaving early because he had to drive down to somewhere to visit his mother and all that sort of stuff. And it was cars driving across it and all that stuff.
Yeah, it just wasn't a very good
No,
market.
it wasn't upmarket market, was it?
No.
No. Okay.
It's a good day.
So moving on then. So I don't know the answer to that. Do we want to write back? My guess is let's let it ride for another month to see what
See what
happens.
happens.
Yeah.
And then take it as a view next time. Okay, 21/22/174 allotments. To receive an update on allotments, to consider any issues, to agree any actions included on the following: provision of slips to clear pots 1B and 27, and the annual skip. So presumably that's 2 skips we're talking about there, is it?
I think so, yeah.
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 So
I think we just have
are
to-
1B and 27 close together, so that the skip can only get into one particular
Yeah,
place, can't it?
yeah.
By the gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think 1B's by
By
five rice cafe and
Yeah.
27's just
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
gate. So
Do you want us to talk us through?
yeah,
that?
well, I'm just thinking on A, just that we propose that we provide them and let Ruth order them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll propose that.
Seconded.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
in favour? Okay, thank you.
And,
Are you
uh,
sorted?
And on the other, what else have we got?
Implication of policy change regarding length of cultivation standards.
Oh
period.
yeah. Now I've had a conversation. I usually have a conversation with Ruth prior to these meetings. So seeing as my name isn't on it, but I seem to speak on it.
Yeah.
I think this particular one has come up because there's a particular plot, and the chap's saying because his tenancy agreement was agreed last April, that now he's got till this September to clear his plot. She's not happy about this, and apparently she's taken advice from YCL that she's been advised that that is right. So basically,
To
we're just
honour it, just
we're,
for
we're just going to
goodwill.
honour it until September. But
Just
with
run me by that again. He took out his plot last April
it's-
21.
Yeah, this is to do with the old policy, Steve.
Yes.
Okay. So that gave a lot more grace than we've now allowed tenants to
It was
have.
18 months initially, and
So-
then I think you put the policy down to 12 months to
Yeah.
make it into a cultivated state.
Right.
So he was arguing because when he took the policy on.
Be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So YLCA and YLCA agreed.
Oh, well,
They said you should
absolutely.
honour it.
Yeah. So
So the policy now is 12 months.
so all I'm doing is I'm just filling in on that.
Okay.
That,
So it was 18 months, now 12 months.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
fine.
So that's.
There's no other
That's that.
implications.
Apart from that, Ruth's sent out for quotes for various things. She's just waiting for quotes to come back. So, as regards any actions from this committee, nothing just at this moment.
Okay. So moving on then, thank you for that. 21/22/175 grants. Application for a grant from the local Women's Institute, 5 Wise Fox, further information attached. Now, just for those who maybe haven't read or printed it all, there is a plaque or stone on the Jubilee Market Square with faded writing on it from the Queen's something or other, and they want to refresh it and add a statement that this stone has been refreshed for the Queen's Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee, and that's what this quote's all about. So they're talking about £800 from Galbraith of Bingley. Now, Galbraith is down by the bottom of the hill.
Opposite Parish Church.
Yeah, opposite the church, and they're local stonemasons. So they've given a quote. But if you read the documents, it seems like they're now wanting £213 or 231, which escaped, don't know which.
213.
213. So my view would we give them 250 in round figures and say thanks very much.
I think I'll second that as well.
But
Yeah,
I've
A
got
lot
some,
less, isn't it?
well, it's a lot less than 800, but they seem to be, you know, if you read the documentation.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I just think it's a no-brainer. I think they've done fundraising, 2 fundraising events.
213.
The first one at the market, and that's when I said the councillor that recommended that they got a grant from Bingley Town Council and myself.
Would have been you, yeah, I got that, yeah.
And
I think they also got that from me on that day.
So
and
so I've looked at the. I mean,
because they were concerned, because they were concerned initially because they more or less agreed with Galbraith, and I said, "Oops, wait a minute! Don't do anything until we've passed it, because you can't
Cash.
get it on a retrospective
That's right.
retrospective
go on.
grant."
Yeah, so there are some comments I would make on the paperwork as provided. There's an email here from Jean to Marcia that says that they may qualify for an Arts, Culture and Heritage grant from Back Bradford Council, but as that's dated in 15th of December, I would assume that didn't come to anything.
No.
So I'm assuming that that didn't happen. The other one was a note about £3,066 being moved around, but doesn't show on the accounts. But again, they then say that they run at a loss of £600 every year. So again, I'm making no comment other than the fact that it wasn't very clear and a little bit detailed.
Yeah.
But the main comment is be careful what you wish for in terms of what you're asking Galbraith to do, because if you read the quotation, and I really want the clerk to go back to Jean to make sure she knows what she's ordering from Galbraith, and I'll explain why. So, in the quotes you've got there, Jean says, "So could the additional words read, refurbished by the Five Rise Fox WI in celebration of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee 2022. Fair dues. It's in lowercase and uppercase to match the existing script."
Right.
When you move forward to Galbraith's quote, he says, "Refurnished by the Five Rise Locks WI in the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year," in uppercase. All in uppercase. So there's a subtle change.
I see what you're saying.
There's a change in the case, uppercase to lowercase,
Yeah.
and also a change in the wording from what Jean is saying.
Right.
So my counsel to Jean is be careful what you ask for. Make sure that you're gonna get what you
Get
want.
Exactly what you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know, if we'd have gone with the way markings or whatever, and just let you got to be specific. Plus the fact there's an apostrophe missing from the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year. So this thing's going to be etched in stone. Right. So I'm really just counselling Jean to just make sure she gets what she wants.
Yeah.
Grammar. Grammar as well.
If you got that,
Yeah.
it's just it's the subtle change from uppercase to lowercase, missing of the year, the missing of the apostrophe, and just to make sure that she goes round and gets a really clear, crisp order to Galbraith, and that.
Well done, teacher.
Yeah, on most of I was saying to Philippa before we started, most of these things you see on the errors on the signs of working vans,
Yeah.
pretty much the error caused by the driver
Actually,
ordering
it says Five Rise Locks as well, not Five Rise Frocks.
five wide locks instead of five.
From
Yes,
what
it says locks instead of frocks. Yeah, well done. So that was my concern there. Was just oh crikey, you're going to get what you want there. So proposal for £250 with a
£250,
warning
yeah.
to
Yeah.
Five Wise Fox. Be careful what you want.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in
All in
favour.
favour, yeah.
Thank you very much. 21-22-176 policies. There's only one policy there. It's a SIL policy. The SIL policy has been pretty much rewritten, but it's not too distinctly different. So a few words of why it's different. So I originally went down the track of a greater liaison with Bradford on SIL money. We did have a discussion a couple of months back about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. The neighbourhood plan new consultant said there's no actual requirement to do that, so pretty much I've left it that we can or we can't. It's up to us in the policy. There's no specific direction within the policy of doing things. Some parish councils actually out there do have a SIL subcommittee where they're actually the SIL subcommittee spending the money and allocating the money, not the main council. But we don't, so again I've not mentioned that. Philippa then had a look at it and restructured it without changing the words to make it easier to read from a readership point of view, to say, you know, what is the SIL, where it's coming from, what it does. So the couple of things that are highlighted and more clarified is that we've got to spend it within 5 years of receipt. That wasn't in the previous policy, it is now. It also points at the Bradford Council's annual monitoring report, which is published, whereas the other one said a section 123 report. So it's now an annual monitoring report. If you go and look at the Bradford website on the SIL side, you will see what they do is they've allocated percentages of SILs to particular service sectors, like education, transport. They don't actually say project, they just say areas. So each person or each portfolio holder knows they're getting a particular percentage, and it's down there as a guesstimate of what it is that they're going to get. Say it's like 5% would be 14,000 or something or other. So the annual monitoring report, you can see where Bradford are spending their money, but we don't have such a thing. What we're saying here is that on the second page at the top it says we're responsible for the disbursement of its portion of SIL developer contribution. We'll adopt similar principles in spending its share of the levy, i.e. as those set out by Bradford. SIL funds will be allocated in a variety of ways, and there's A and B on projects identified by Bingley Town Council as being a priority for the parish, and then we aspire to spend some of its SIL money by way of an award to local communities. And you will recall that we did the upgrade of the grant policy last month with a nod to the SIL policy, which we knew was coming through. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. The process has been outlined, and it's pretty much the same. It's just been repaginated, renumbered to make it more compliant for the easy readers and the disability. Hard of sight. Okay, so
Yes,
any
okay.
questions? It's a bit of a expensive canter through that, but
Proposed.
well,
Seconded.
you and I wrote it, so,
I know.
so seconded by yeah. All those in favour? Yeah.
Well, it didn't seem like anyone was going to.
No. Good,
Sorry,
good shout.
I'm really sleepy.
So yes, that's proposed to be put before the full council. Then moving on to 21-22-177 risk management, to review the risks, identifying any new unacceptable levels of risk to the town council to receive an update on the review of the council's risk management and risk assessment policy. So if we take the latter first, and I do know that there's work in the background, but not yet ready to come to this council, this committee. So I don't know whether you want to say anything about that, Philippa.
Not really. We haven't made a lot of progress.
No, I guess you've been focused on neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
We
also
need
not
to
on
get
the
it done for before the internal audit done.
Yeah. But also not on the agenda was the business case thing that we
Yeah.
held over from last. So again, that was you, me, and Councillor Curdale. So there's a couple of things in the
We need to
background
pick
that
up.
we do need to pick
Yeah.
up. But neighbourhood plan and Milner Fields took a bit of time this month. Okay, so let's talk about reviewing any new or unacceptable levels of risk to the town council.
It's nothing to do with the buildings, it's just in general.
Yeah, in general. I don't think there are any. I think it's all hunky dory at the moment.
So far, so
The,
good.
the vagabonds outside seem to have calmed down and not nicking the cleaners' buckets anymore at the moment.
Well, they're all partying over there tonight, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the top of the
There
steps
are-
there.
Yeah.
I was there-
John had a view on that on Saturday. I don't know if
I,
you want to share that with Philippa.
Yeah, I will. I was stuck. I looked at my watch and it was 17 minutes past 10, and I thought, what's John going to do till 12 o'clock? So I went over there, having heard kids there at the last. So I went across and picked a bit of litter up, and I spent the rest of the time clearing out leaves and taking out weeds out. So we've got
They're
a,
being
Make it
we've got a
better
nice
for them.
place to meet.
Yeah.
There's actually cover there. I
Yeah.
mean, it's no bother as far as I could see, as long as they don't do any damage. I mean, if nowhere else to go, it's
well,
fine.
I say if the youth cafe is not open
No.
for them.
No,
So yeah,
I
so
don't think there are
I
any new
cleaned the
risks.
place up. I cleaned the place up for them. So,
Any new risks at all, let alone unacceptable ones. So, shall we move on?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. 2122 178 exclusion of the press and public. I'm not going to read that out because there are no press and public here. So I'm going to move on and stop recording. The play in the park was in
It
the
was in the-
confidential.
yeah.
So no points to any of us for not spotting that earlier. So let me just stop the recording and say good night, YouTube.